Alright folks, how you doing? Russell TrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Mind, Body, Spirit, Fitness. Put in the healing back in health. Follow on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The podcast is out there. Links down below. Alright, True Crew, coming at you today with why America's falling behind. Right? Or why does it seem like some places strive and excel more than others? Some different cities, states, and things like that. So I think when it comes down to it, I was talking with my boss, and he brought up a really good point as well. And I don't know if I've mentioned this. If I did, it got buried at the end of a video. So most likely, if you didn't watch that video or you didn't actually watch the whole thing because you're like, oh, this guy's just mumbling, you didn't get that point. So what it is, it's like my boss said, right? His son is starting to wrestle, starting to do all these sports. He's, elementary school, whatever. And he's decent. My boss is really good at, spending that quality time with his son to make sure and teach him things, things about life, but also with the sports. He saw his son was struggling, so he sat there on YouTube just researching wrestling techniques, and then he would wrestle with his son, teach him how to do these things, so he became really good for his age. All of a sudden now, there's younger kids, oh, you should have your son come to this school. You should have your son, if he sticks with it, to go to this school, or this school, or this school. And he's under this same impression, like, well, no, this is my neighborhood, It's not the fact that I went to school here, but I've lived in this area for so long that, that's not how success is built. Like, you just go to those teams, kind of like now people are getting upset about these super basketball teams, right? With Kevin Durant going to Golden State, LeBron going to Miami, all these different things. And he's like, no, that's not what it is. People don't see this school as a quality school or that school as a quality school because all these kids are leaving to go to this other school. They take the best students, they take the best athletes, all these different things to build that up, and these other schools fall behind. Right? So what these younger schools are needing, they're needing leaders. They're needing intelligent kids. And he wants his son to be that within that community, within that school. Right? So it's like, no, not my son's high school. Oh, this high school doesn't have a great wrestling program or baseball program, so go here. It's, no, my son's going to stay there and bring that program up. Right? A perfect example as well as I was discussing with my cousin a while back where they knew someone that wanted to play that was going to school for softball, possibility of getting a scholarship, and they're like, oh, you don't want to go to that school. Like the last 4 years, this school has won state. You want to go there. So that girl ended up going there. They didn't even win state. The school she wanted to go to ended up winning state like 3 times or, twice in her high school career. So it's like, no, you don't go somewhere because they've already got that established program. You bring the attention to that school and you create the buzz, right? And that's the unfortunate thing with society. It's that same thing I've talked about before. The reason why the Electoral College seems so unfair is because, everybody just wants to move to California, New York, all these these 2 different major cities, and then they're like, well, how come we won the popular vote, but we lost the Electoral College? Well, because it's not about the popular vote. It's about the Electoral College. So unfortunately, that means, right, the Electoral College allows diversity throughout the United States. It gives every state the opportunity to have a say within the United States, not just the popular vote, right? That's the beauty of the Electoral College. So that's the same thing. Why is America falling apart? Because you get your degree in, I'm from Colorado, so you get your degree in Colorado, and you're like, well, things just aren't booming here, so I'm going to go over here, or I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to go over here because there's more population, there's more people, right? When in reality, you need to stay within your community. You need to build your community up. And we're not doing that. We're just already going to these thriving communities and trying to find our place there instead of building your community up. That's where the downfall is. That's why we're falling short here in America. Because we'd rather go over there. It's the same thing I talked about, where if you want to make sure and ensure that your kids have a better life than you, it's not buying them a bunch more crap, it's not this or that. It's by the time you retire, your goal when you retire should not be to spend all of your money before you die. Your goal should be leaving at least minimum $100,000 to your children, and if you raise your children right, they're going to utilize that money to actually make more money, or they're going to let it sit there and in stocks and bonds and investments and build more money for the future, right? We got to understand that these families just didn't fall upon money, right? Nowadays they do, but these are established families throughout time. And what happened? The first generation made the sacrifice to where, hey, I'm not going to spend it all. I'm going to leave some to my children. Their children were smart enough not to spend it all and leave even more to their children. And that's how you build wealth, right? So the same thing has to happen with your city, with your state, with your county, right? With your little town. You have to be the one to sacrifice to say, yeah, I could go over there and I could make more money and I could be more successful. But in reality, that does nothing for my little town. It does nothing for my little town. So I should stay here, build my own little community, these different things. So by the time your children are getting older or your great-grandchildren, it's an established city, it's up and coming, and great things are happening. But if you just always run away and forget where you came from, you're not going to do any good with it. Your town's always going to struggle. Your town's always going to be stuck in that same place. And that's what you've got to understand. Somebody's got to make that sacrifice. In reality, someone has to make that sacrifice. And the downfall is nobody wants to, because the sacrifice isn't as glorious as it seems, right? Nobody ever gets the glory of making that sacrifice. But that rich person's always going to get that glory in the eye of the public. That's why America's falling behind, because we don't want to sit there and support our own, unfortunately. Our own little community. So, once again, food for thought. I hope it made sense. Now that I'm getting to the end of it, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I was all over the place, but I hope it's something that can resonate with you. Don't send your child to that other school because that school's better. Let your child excel where he's at and bring and elevate the people around you to the next level. And great things are going to happen. So once again, I hope this helps. Follow my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. The podcast is out there. Subscribe to this channel. Share and like these videos.